everybody in Mount Vernon is in an uproar that the Mount Vernon Hospital is closing. Right. I wrote 3 pieces: racism by zip code, part 1, part 2, part 3. Right. The third part is about the cultural conditioning of our black elected officials. Basically, I'm saying that, you know, around this issue with the hospital, you know, everybody knew since 2010. There was an article, there was a News 12 report that when Republican County Exec Astorino announced that he was changing the contract for the inmates from Westchester County Medical Center down to Mount Vernon. Well, one of the main issues that what was the argument was that the hospital was cash strapped then. The hospital was having financial problems then, and the money from the inmates, having the inmates there, would help the hospital not. And that was in 2010. But check this out. So now everybody wants to reach out to the governor, and the issue with the governor with Mount Vernon, he has been totally silenced. Whatever have went on in Mount Vernon for the last 3 years, right? He's been totally silenced. Even when people have written the governor, even if people have sent messages to the governor, you know, even he's even quoted to not knowing what's going on in Mount Vernon, which is totally disrespect. So in the Poughkeepsie Journal, right, it says the Lieutenant Governor Kathleen Hochul breaks ground on a $92.9 million hospital expansion. So I'm going to read some. I'm going to read part. I'm going to read some of this. Right. See, now if the lieutenant governor is there, then you know there's some problems. Right. So the combined construction of the 2 Health Alliance campuses is expected to cost $130.9 million, with $88.8 million coming from New York State Capital Restructuring Finance Program. We want to make sure that New Yorkers have access to affordable, high-quality health care, said Hochul. We want to make sure that New Yorkers have access to affordable, high-quality health care. Now let's take a look. Let's take a look at the difference. Let's take a look at the difference of Poughkeepsie and Mount Vernon. Poughkeepsie has a population of 30,000 people. Mount Vernon has a population of 80,000 people. Okay. Poughkeepsie is getting a brand new hospital for 30,000. Mount Vernon Hospital is closing, and they're getting a clinic.
Yeah, they're getting a healthcare complex. That's the word.
What?
Healthcare complex.
That shit is a clinic.
$41 million healthcare complex on Sanford Boulevard.
Exactly. Exactly. A clinic on. They're getting a clinic on steroids. That's all it is. It's all outpatient. So the question, and I keep saying it again. The hospital closing is the failure of city, county, state, and federal representatives. You can't tell me how Poughkeepsie, what has the Poughkeepsie elected officials done for them to get $88.8 million from the state? $88.8 million from the state. That's why Lieutenant Hochul was there at the groundbreaking, because the state has something to do with it. And they have yet, in Albany, the governor's office, Cuomo, or Lieutenant Hochul, right, has yet to even make any statement on the closing of the hospital in Mount Vernon. Not one statement. Not one statement. So I think the people of Mount Vernon need to question that. And the people of Mount Vernon need to find out what did they do in Poughkeepsie? What was the difference? What work did they do? How did they secure $88.8 million? Anybody want to make? You want to make?
No, I mean, the only thing that I'm thinking of is even when I was reading one of the articles, how, it was saying that this healthcare complex that you call a clinic, it says, it will leave residents exposed without adequate medical services. So, I mean, that just says to me right then and there, obviously, I mean, a lot of hospitals are not trauma equipped, but we certainly know a clinic would not be equipped to handle any type of trauma coming inside Mount Vernon. And then they're moving it from where the hospital is now. What's that, Valentine? Over to Sanford. That's where it's going, Sanford Boulevard. South Shore had it at that time, and now Montefiore has it. I'm looking here. It says that I didn't know that Mount Vernon Hospital filed Chapter 11. I'm looking at
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Mount Vernon didn't happen overnight.
They said this was in 2013.
Exactly. In the article I was quoting from when with the inmates, when they already said that the hospital cash strap was 2010. So these people know. And Lyndon Williams had a press conference when they first was talking about closing it when Clinton Young was mayor. So it wasn't no secret. It wasn't no secret that there were issues. But where was the county officials? Where was the state officials? Where was the federal officials? And how the hell did Poughkeepsie, with 30,000 people, get a $88.8 million from the state?
What's the demographic in
I'm not sure. But goddamn, they only got 30,000 people. Mount Vernon is damn near triple.
Let's see if we can find it.
Look, we have to stop. We have to stop playing games with our elected officials, right? They just announced. Well, the Post did, but then other people said it wasn't as high as $6 billion, right? The state is is from $3 to $6 billion deficit. So you can forget your little towns can forget getting some money, right? You ain't gonna get no money, and they talking about looking at changing the state's Medicaid program. So you in a deficit and you take from old people.
Okay, so Poughkeepsie's demographic, their racial makeup, 52.8% white, 35.7 black or African American, 10.6% Hispanic or Latino, 1.6 Asian, 0.4 Native American, 5.3 from any other race.
So they're basically kind of equal.
And Mount Vernon, 64.3 black, 16.1% white, 15.4% Hispanic.
Well, there you go.
You can't beat the numbers.
I mean, the numbers speak for themselves.
There you go.
The numbers speak for
There
themselves.
you go. So right, and you're exactly right. And it's really even sad that we even have to go there and actually discussing those type of numbers. You know what I'm saying?
You know what cracks me up though is that these elected officials, they all claim Mount Vernon. Oh, I'm Mount Vernon bred. I'm Mount Vernon born. I'm Mount Vernon raised. I went to school in Mount Vernon. I did all, but you see your city having an issue, and you do absolutely nothing about it.
I didn't say that.
I said it.
Everybody want to blame me, but
I said it. I said it.
Yo, but see, this is what I don't understand. And I had this conversation with Kenny Plummer. You know, because see, they always like to say, "Oh, I'm not from Mount Vernon. I don't live in Mount Vernon," and all this yada yada nigga stuff, right? Excuse me, Rev, but I should have said Negro. All this stuff. But guess what? The actions of those reflect on all black people. Like we have to understand that, right? Okay. If we have a black city, right, that represents everybody, not just you. Don't get it twisted. Because see, we expect you to be the leaders and those in those issues in governments, so we can say, look, black people know what we do. Black people, we know what we doing when we get in those positions. Because see, if you can't get a field done, if it takes 10 years for black elected officials to come to a consensus and actually move on a field, right? The county should have never had to come in. George Lattimore should have never had to come in and get the field done after 10 years. That's embarrassing. Embarrassing. So since that 10 years, you had Yankee Stadium built. They tore down the old one. They tore down the old Shea Stadium, built a new one, and they built a damn bridge. Before black people can get their stuff together in Mount Vernon and just build a field. They built a bridge before black people can get together and build a field. You have to think about that. We have to really think about it. So, I mean, we have to start, we got to start doing better in this thing, man. Because you just don't represent yourself. That's what I'm saying. You represent every black person in Westchester County when you're doing this nonsense. When you're doing the nonsense. So we got to get it together. It ain't about just you. It's about everybody.
I agree.
And see, we got to change that.